and you've come from a lot. What comes to mind when I ask you what inspired you? Like, it can be anything from like when you were a young girl, or I'm still pursuing this because of there's a lot, and then you're a deep woman, so go for it.
So I always wanted to be a musician. I never not wanted to do anything else, and like many people, I found myself doing other things. And I went to Cornell, and I did that to make my parents happy and honor their sacrifice. We were refugees. We came here on political asylum. So I wanted to, honor my parents' sacrifice and all the things that they had to go through. And I knew that me going to an Ivy League school was like really important, especially my dad. And so I did that, but then I graduated and I was like, oh crap, because I had all this music in me. And I ended up I was lucky to be around some like incredible high performance mindset coaches, like really at the top of their game. And I was getting trained around them. I fell into, being a short form video producer, content producer for, I ran a platform. I was a marketing director. I did a bunch of stuff. And then I realized, like, I'm going to die with my music in me if I don't just take a step. And that shifted first. That realization, that moment of declaration that I wasn't going to give up on me shifted first. And then I met someone, because I think my mind shifted, my heart shifted. And then all of a sudden, I was attracting the thing. And so I met a producer who, had like awards and had worked with Stevie Wonder and like just incredible people. And I sang for him a song I wrote. He was like, you're a singer and an artist, and if you show up here every week, we're gonna record. Wow. And so next thing I know, I'm recording, and next thing I know, my first song is, creating opportunities for me, and I just responded. But I think what shifted first was that moment of like declaration, I'm not dying with my music in me.
Wow.
That's powerful.
She's a deep woman. She's got me. Okay. So, how do you use your platform to express meaningful messages and address like societal issues, like through your art and your lyrics?
Yeah. So I'm really glad you actually asked me that question, because my music is really about that. So the reason my business is called Music for the People is because I really make music for the people. So I'm about to go into Artist 2.0. I took a break from the music business, went back to school, learned a bunch of new things, went to Bible school, got an actual degree in music production. I'm in music, and I'm working on a music and tech certificate. I'm working on a data science certificate. Like I'm sort of a tech nerd on the side, which is really interesting. But that's all related to the Music for the People platform. But all that to say, I really write music about the people, like the issues that face people. Those are the things that move me. That's what I care to write about. And so I'm actually relaunching my career. So I'm in Artist 2.0 mode, which is, really great. So I think your question was, can you rephrase it just so I make sure that I answered specifically?
Yeah, how do you use your platform to express meaningful messages?
That's how. I wouldn't make music if it wasn't for that. Okay. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I think I'm talented. I think there are a lot of talented people out there. But for me, to want the mic, to get you to stop and listen to what I have to say, I want to make music that is about what's really happening. So to me, that's everything. Like, it's why I make music. It's why I bother to make music. And I'm so excited about this next chapter of my career, because it's really about music that addresses the things that are actually really happening. I think there are things that sometimes we like to escape and shut off, but I think more and more we're looking for just music that expresses the truth for us that maybe we can't even say out loud.
Okay, very good. And on that note, can you share, is there someone that has impacted you, or have you impacted someone with your music and art?
Oh man, well, there are plenty of people that have impacted me.
Yeah. And why?
Yeah, I think I'm just impacted by anyone who has the courage to stand up and speak truth, especially to power. And yeah, there have been moments where, I've had people, hear songs and come up to me and tell me how, it's like, affected them, and it's like you'll never forget moments like
Yeah.
that. It makes it all worth it,
Yeah.
like all the other stuff that you have to deal with, because I mean, let's just face it, like putting music out, you know, definitely running a label, and I was like one of the first in the DIY space, like super early in the DIY space. When I started that, people were in shock. You didn't do that. You didn't sign yourself. You waited until someone came and found you and said, you're worth it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the real truth of the matter is that, you know, all this stuff was happening. We put a song up on YouTube, and my manager at the time, we had just started working together. He was leaving Universal Canada. And he was like, okay, all this stuff is happening with your song. It's like literally getting spins around the world. It's on the radio, which means it's making money. And no one wants to sign you because you don't look the part. And because you're also not tied to one city. Because I was a multi-city, I was living in between New York, Kingston, Jamaica, and then later on in London. So, you know, he was like, it's just like, you know, people are curious about it. It looks like it's polished. It sounds really great. People think it's, you know, like I'm getting a great response about it, but like no one's stepping up to sign it, and it's already on the radio. So we need to figure out what's going to happen. And what I suggest is that you start a label and you figure out how labels work. And he was like, read this. And I was already kind of nerdy about that stuff. It's actually why we had connected. And so I had a record label overnight, and I had to figure out how to do that, and no one was doing that. That like today, there are like a million tools. There's, you know, DistroKid, CD Baby, and you know, TuneCore, and all these things. This is before that, and there was no roadmap. There was nobody who would like I could look to like, how do you do this? And so I had to figure it out. But you know, in those moments, like you really discover that, you know, you have the thing inside of you. You talked about that. Like, you gotta just pull up what you got.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just, you know, figure it out. But I think it boils down to, like, not missing your moments. You know, I think we all have our moments. And I loved what you said about, I mean, like, I loved what you said about not doing something before it's time, because the fruit will be bitter.
Yeah.
Respecting the timing of life, understanding that there's a force of life that's bigger than you, and humbling yourself to it, recognizing that it has a time. Things have a flow. Sometimes it's your season to pursue something publicly, and sometimes it's your season to go back into the woodshed and practice, or learn, or care for a child, or care for a sick parent. And it's like important to be humbled to the life force that's bigger than you. For me, it's God. And let that force, let that intelligent, loving source, God, that loves you, gently guide you and tell you when it's time for what. That's more important than anything else, because life is in seasons. It comes in seasons. So I'm about to embark on 2.0, but that's because I feel God saying 2.0. And 2.0 is really, for me, what's really great is that it's also, and I'm talking about this because I'm sure there are people in this room that can really relate to, you know, you're doing something for a while and then you stop and life happens, right? So my mom got sick, my aunt got sick. I decided to come off the road, care for them. I went back to school. I did other things with my life. I mean, this is going to be shocking, but I can do other things besides music. As I know you can do, all of you have multiple things that you can do and contribute to the world, and there are different times for different things. But now I'm coming back into the music business, and it's like, there's a really great opportunity to have a conversation also about ageism. And, you know, the fact that, like, who says I'm done? Who says it? Right? Just like no one signed me, who says I'm done? So, so I just champion that.
So good, and you answered my next question. So, with that being said, what advice would you give a woman to empower her to pursue her music and artistry?
I would like to just sort of address artistry in general, because not everyone in the room is making music, though there are, I'm sure, a few musicians in the room. it all starts with the heart. You can't make the art without the heart. And the smart, but definitely the heart. Because people can hear the truth. The truth has a ring. We all know it when we hear it. So what I would say is you want to tune your heart into the truth. And that might even mean like doing like a real audit of where your heart is and being honest if there are wounds there that need healing. You can't really make anything that moves people unless your heart's in it. And the thing about wounds to the heart is that it's actually not waiting until you're all healed up. It's leaning in and having the courage to be brave and share what's really going on. And people actually are liberated by that.
Yeah.
When you have the courage to share what's going on in your heart. And there are a lot of ways to actually access, like to check in with your heart and do a heart check. But I think it's like at the core. It's at the core of all artistry. So I would start there.
Thank you, Sheba. Thank you.